All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us again on Wired Together. I am Melanie Winter,
And I'm Jason Winter.
and today we are super excited. It is National IT Professionals Day. We do lots of different things here at Winternet Web, which is the parent company of Wired Together.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we do, and I say we very loosely,
Oh, come on.
I do a lot of content design. I do a lot of the prep for things. I do not do computer repair. I am still learning myself, so I
Oh, yeah.
definitely understand those that come into the store and say, I don't know if I'm saying this right. And I sympathize or empathize completely. I am still learning myself. I find what he does like absolute sorcery. So happy National IT Professionals Day, Jason.
Oh, come on now. I mean, see, when it comes to technology, it's always a lifetime of learning.
It is,
And
and I didn't have all that.
right. I started very, very oddly young. But it's one of those things you learn what you need to know. And, for many of us, that might be, I know how to do Google search, find these different things. I know how to use a word processor. You might have a hobby and you have software you use for that hobby and you know that. And, the more you use it, that's fine. I mean, you learn things, but
I took typing in high school.
I mean, and that's great. I mean, you've done a lot of great things.
So I am, again, still learning.
Right. But see, I've learned just like from like my teaching roots, I've learned so much from my students. In this case, over this past, since we've had a storefront 2.5 years, I've probably touched 400 computers with 250 different things. And because I've done it, obviously I know more because I've had the trivia thrown at me. So now I've learned new things. So,
right.
But yeah, it's and
I am
that's
better
one thing I
when
like
something
about
is
it.
thrown at me.
Right.
Just yesterday, I was able to do just a small amount of troubleshooting
And that's great.
while you were still in a meeting. So,
Yep.
And so I can,
Of course you can.
and I can answer questions. I can troubleshoot a little. So I guess I am selling myself short, but it's definitely your day.
That's not the reason for the podcast, but we
It is
just
not, but
we stumbled
if it's
upon.
National IT
I know
Professionals Day.
we
Let's
happened to
say it.
stumble upon it. I think I was scrolling social media and someone posted, and I'm like, oh, well, we got to mention that, I guess.
I mean, we celebrate National Wine Day, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Stuff like that. So why not?
Every day.
Why not?
Yeah. So, well, all right.
So that was not exactly what we had as far as what we wanted to set up for today, but it kind of does go along with everything in IT, if you will. We wanted to talk a little bit about kind of the founding of the AI movement. We feel like a lot of people, I'm sure, and myself included, feel like AI just kind of happened. It just kind of like presented itself, and all of a sudden now it's this big hot button issue.
Yeah.
And really it did not just happen.
No.
And so that is kind of where we wanted to just do a little bit of dig into that. And then, as we do, sometimes it's fun to play a game. So
of
then
course,
we'll
play a game. We'll talk more about that later. But, I think one reason why people feel like AI just happened is, just over 2 years ago, I think it was, I think the ChatGPT thing was the bigger player that kind of came out.
So having a platform.
Right. And then people started
understanding.
Right. Looking at it. And then all of a sudden, because people started messing with it and got feedback that was above and beyond anything they ever experienced. And, usually you would have to like pay a lot of money for a tool that would convert whatever you're trying to do. And, you feel like you're getting that payload. This was something that anyone could just mess with. And we're like, whoa, this is big deal. I mean, it really was like, we fired up the big boys and just handed it to people and said, all right, look what this can do. And there were conferences, there were businesses that all got together and was like, hey, what does this AI mean? So, yeah. But I guess to what you're getting at is AI as a concept didn't start then, that it had origins.
Right. And so we did find an article that you can obviously look up and read for yourself. It's only a few paragraphs, so it's not like, bulky or anything. It's Quidgest.
Yeah.
Is that how you?
Quidgest.com. QUIDGEST.com.
And so this was written in March 19th of 2021 about the founding fathers of the artificial intelligence. So it kind of just gives a little bit of an overview of some of the people that were in early computing, but really by definition, the early computing, which would be, started in the early turn of the last century, so the early 1900s, going more like 1930s, 1950s, where things were starting to really progress. The large computers, as you know, and things like that. They were starting to realize what these things were capable of, and how they could manipulate and have these things run real fast. And so we think a lot of times is computing is just calculations. And really, even in the early time period with Alan Turing and that kind of thing, it's not just calculations. He's actually trying to get more into that self-modifying, self-improving. And so that by definition is an AI concept. So if it can start to kind of formulate what it wants to give you as far as information based on the experiences it's having,
Right.
then that's giving it a little bit more than just calculation. So it's not just input output.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say input output. Yeah. Because, computer was a term that was a person's title, and then we had the machines that started performing that better. So you could have an employee, and females are like really big and formative in this industry. Most of the computers were female, and actually because, all right, let's just say you had your engineers that were stereotypically male. We built this wonderful big thing. And I know in my experience with a lot of things, it's like, okay, they build it, and it's like, how's it work? Well, we don't know. We were told to build it. The females were more intent on actually, okay, fine. We need to make use of this, and people need to understand how it works. So they tinkered, put it together and all that. A lot of your software, a lot of this was created.
So are you saying that early computing is almost like your mom and pop? You've got to have kind of both sides working together as far as
that is
intention.
exactly what I'm saying.
How beautiful. I love that turnaround.
We'll just okay.
I really stumped you now. I'm
no,
so sorry.
no. I just don't want to sound too stereotypical, but I mean, females largely tend to be caring for the house, the nest, and we got to make this work. Males sometimes get tunnel vision, or very frequently, it's like, okay, I went to work, did this, I made this money, whatever. Here's the path I'm on, and the female goes, how can we make best out of all of this? And I feel like the unsung heroes of the computing movement largely were females. And if you do the research, you will find, time and time again, that wasn't what I was going to talk about right now, but it's what it led into. But how it all, the segue being the computer was a role. Your job was to help with, figuring out calculations. You have data. And for businesses, data was very important. That controlled your next path and what direction you're going. And that's important, of course, with competition. How do we outperform these people and grab the market before they do? So as computers, as the device came to being, then it was, okay, yes, it can do simple input output. But what is this, like, what else can it do? How do we push it further? And that's when the idea of AI really started growing, because you're interacting with this device, and you're telling it to do something, it's giving you feedback. And I remember as a young child with DOS and all that, and early years of programming, that was interesting. It was almost like I found this friend that I can work with, and as sad as that it might
Oh,
sound,
that does sound a little
it does sound
sad.
sad, but I mean the nostalgia of the buzz, the glow of the screen. I mean,
It's
it-
okay.
it-
I had a Tamagotchi. I'm with you on this.
But anyone out there my age group, that enjoyed tinkering with computers probably can relate to that.
Can I dive in here?
Please do,
As
'cause I need to be taken away from
the
this.
female voice.
Yes.
What you were talking about earlier
Mhm.
makes perfect sense. You have, of course, your builders of the input-output kind of concept, but then you need that to be communicated.
Yeah,
So who better in
Yep.
ways of communication
sure.
than like you're talking about with the female inputs
Yep.
of early technology,
Yep.
minus Lovelace. We unfortunately did not look up anything to help with
Well,
your
we
twist of what you
yeah,
decided
we didn't
to
plan
go
to
into.
segue, but we know Lovelace. I mean, her early computing years with the Babbage
But that's what I'm
computer.
saying.
Yeah,
You
I know
know,
what you're
minus
getting
that,
at, but, right,
yeah. I can't throw anybody out there off the fly, unfortunately, and
I
that's
would-
actually really unfortunate.
I would
We're
recognize
gonna
their
do-
names. Yeah,
We're gonna do an episode on that.
we will. We will
We-
do an episode of all the female pioneers in computing,
Let's
and
do that.
you will be very surprised. I mean, we want to be on the moon. We wouldn't have half the crap we got there now because
Well, I mean, we wouldn't have
Maybe not.
continued generations without females, right?
that too.
Well,
We would have died off 25 years ago. So
But also, it's true. It's like you said, the two things have to go together.
Mhm.
Like I was saying with mom and pop, you got to build it.
that is true.
So
Yeah.
everything needs to be
You-
built.
you
Everything
need that
needs
balance.
to be communicated.
Yeah.
So there you go with Wired Together.
Huzzah! All right.
Full circle.
Yep. Just a happenstance.
Happenstance.
Yep.
So within this article, again, we're talking. I'm trying to get back. You've
What-
thrown me with this. I love
I'm
it.
sorry. No, but I mean, you just got to go with where it goes.
Right. Kind of what they were thinking in the early time period, and again, I really urge you to read the article. We've got a couple of different names here that they're kind of dropping in the early time period, and like I said, Alan Turing.
Yeah.
There's one guy they were talking about with Marvin Minsky, and one thing that he was really one thing I wanted to pull from the article. Please read what he did, and that's cool.
Yeah, we just don't want to read to you, so we're
Yeah, I'm
trying.
not
We're
gonna
trying to
sit here and read
just
it.
spit out our
But
points and not.
It was neat what he was talking about with. He really believed that what they were building would help solve a lot of humanity problems, and so that's one thing that he was kind of saying against people that were starting to feel uncomfortable, and
Right.
that at this time
Yeah.
in the 50s, people were getting a lot of information with the sci-fi
What,
genre
Yeah.
building
That movement
that
started.
where all of a sudden everything starts to feel like it's closing in, and maybe technology is not the way. So
And you're saying
even
his
though,
perspective was
yes,
positive.
we're having some problems with that
Right.
now. This actually was back in the 50s as well,
Right.
where is technology going to take over? Can technology
Right.
really replace humanity? That kind of thing. And so he was one of those that's like, this might actually help humanity, but we're talking about the difference between computing and a self-evolving machine
Right.
versus a human. So
Right.
that's kind of what we wanted to lay the groundwork on in discussion is the machine versus the human.
It's interesting because we've tried to always make computers to communicate with us, to some people may say to replace us, but as we try to improve upon the computer as a tool, you're trying to get closer and closer to the human. But we both have very distinct differences, us as humans are very different from a computer. And I think with AI, it becomes that confusing notion of wow, it's almost like I'm talking to a person.
It
but
feels too close.
it feels too close.
Right. And
But
then,
is it?
well, and actually, one of my points with AI is, or any of this
Right.
computing is, do we sometimes feel too close to it on the other side
Okay.
of, are we trying too hard to be the computer and
Right.
not the human? And I think we've got to eventually create
Yeah.
this big distinctive difference between the two of us.
Mm-hmm.
That I actually did ask AI whether or not it could lie, and it told me why it can lie but it can't. Because it can lie, but it has no intention of lying because it has no motivation.
So it's in its ability to, but that's not a choice it makes when
Right.
responding.
Because it doesn't really need to survive, it doesn't have an emotional intention.
Oh, that's interesting.
And so it actually
We
explained
lie.
this to me
Whoa,
in a
okay.
very deep dive, that it cannot lie intentionally because it doesn't need to.
That's true.
Because
I
it's
guess.
not living. And so it doesn't need to survive. It doesn't
Well-
need to, have an emotional context with
Right.
anything.
The
It's just facts.
the young child that breaks the vase, and the mother's like, "What happened to the vase?" And the child may be like, I don't
The
know.
cat did it.
The cat did it.
Right.
The vase fell,
Mhm.
which is great. Using passive. The passive voice always came out of taking the subject out of the sentence, which is a great
Right.
way of lying because if you take yourself out. But anyway, that's a whole other thing. So, but yes, that is an emotional moment. Mama's mad, and
I wanna save my
I want to
tail.
save my tail.
Right.
So I'm going to say maybe this. So AI has no reason for survival. It doesn't know when I turn it off or turn it on. It's not like, oh, now I need to get back in my box. It's not the
Right.
genie in the lamp, So because of the lack of that emotional thing,
Right.
there's no need. That's interesting.
There is no emotion, therefore
Yeah.
it does not need to have, or there is no survival, therefore it doesn't need emotion, therefore it doesn't really need intention.
Right.
So that is our distinction here,
Yeah.
is that line in the sand of it can lie. And so
Sure.
what AI actually did say is it can lie. But if you challenge its lie, if it realizes it lied, it's also unlike a human, will go ahead and correct itself.
Oh yeah, many times we've said something. It said something back, and I'm like, but no, maybe you misunderstood me because that's not entirely true. And it's like, yep, I made a wrong assumption there. You're exactly right, and apologetically just brought itself back to center.
But I mean, all it's truly doing is
It's an algorithm.
is scouring
Yeah.
the internet and gathering information.
Yep, it's big
yes,
data.
information
Yep,
can be wrong.
sure,
And so that's why it was saying, yes, I can lie because information can be wrong.
right. Or
But-
what you chose to look at. I mean,
Right. But it cannot lie by its own admission, if you will.
Yeah.
It cannot just kind of create something,
yeah,
which is what humans can do is create.
right,
So because of our creative nature, we can lie
sure,
because we are creative. And so, yes, we can create, and we imagine.
we
And
create
so,
our own
yes,
reality.
we can create
Yeah.
like massive and extensive
Oh, of
lies.
course.
Technically all fiction.
Right.
Every fictional, work of art is a lie
Yeah.
because what we can do is create something that is nothing. So
Yeah, and by creating something that is nothing is a fit.
right.
It's
So that's one thing that it cannot do. It cannot create something that it does not see.
true.
So that was a very interesting discussion that AI and I had.
That's interesting.
So I ended up coming up with a new AI catchphrase of back in the, what is this, 1970s cop show, Just a Facts Man.
oh yeah, just a facts, man. Yeah, so pretty much, just
Wrong or right,
give it the
it's facts.
information, and or it's what it's giving you is it thinks it's fact. Yep, I got you. Okay. That was more than I expected. on that, and we definitely went into some things that I'm glad we did because it made some parallels and some connections.
And really being able to establish that major difference, and I think that is like I was talking about with the AI going in. Are we getting too close to computing, or is computing getting too close to us?
Right.
And so I think we need to really take a lot of time as all of this comes to play. Maybe we need to come up with these distinctions between ourselves, our human psyche, and the AI itself.
Right.
Or computing in general. So,
right.
Because this is again long before what has been created with right there in our hands, ChatGPT kind of AI concepts.
Yeah.
This is long before all of that, where it's moving and it's creating its own identity. We are not that identity, and so that's I guess sometimes my struggle with things like education, where we try a little too hard to, do an input-output concept.
Right.
If I give you information and then I give you a test, then the information I gave you needs to be able to be seen on the test.
Right. The goal is it should be translated perfectly.
Right.
Which is not.
And so that's input-output, right?
It is input-output.
So that means,
but they're different machines.
Children
too.
are computers? Well, no, of course they're not.
Yeah.
So the Mercury might be in retrograde. The moon
or Microsoft is in retrograde.
Microsoft's in retrograde.
Sorry, I had to throw that in there.
We do need to coin that.
Yeah, we do. We did now.
Didn't have the right breakfast this morning, or
so many factors. We're humans. We're not,
you just not feeling the test or things like that.
Right.
And so our input output's not exactly the same.
Right.
And then we get really discouraged with our humanness.
Yeah.
When our humanness doesn't react like the computer. Well, if I put a formula in the computer, that computer will take my formula and output exactly what the outcome I'm looking for. Children, humans, none of us are that way.
Right.
I think what we have to remember is the beauty of that.
Right.
That
technology fails too.
What technology does fail.
So
why
do we think technology is perfect?
On a normal basis of the failure of technology, but the beauty of humanity.
Yeah.
Because they come into here, my tech has failed. What do I do?
Yeah.
And we meet the most incredible people.
Well, we really do. Yeah.
We have discussions that are way beyond technology and into
we'll talk about God, everything. Just spirituality, you name it.
Yes, I love
and
our
it's
customers.
just I really do, and I'm so glad that God really played a role in us making this jump, and like the first time in my life, of course it's been almost 2.5 years, I don't fear going to work. I don't know if fear is the right thing. Well, maybe it could have been. I can't, but it's like, and I know things are going to be thrown at me that I don't anticipate or anything, or I don't know who I'm going to necessarily meet. Yes, I have a schedule, but and God laughs. You ain't doing that today. Right. But it's, I don't know. I really feel like we've been intentionally placed here. And I'm not saying it's because we're saving our community. No, that's not the point. But when and when God has kind of, I guess, put on your heart what you're supposed to do, and you've been fighting it for maybe 2 decades, and you finally give in and say, fine, okay, I will. It's just amazing how, I guess, things fall into place.
This couple of years has been very synchronistic, it just moves very well, and not perfectly by any means.
But it's also been the hardest I've worked my whole life.
Yes.
But it doesn't feel that way because you're going.
Hard work is not a bad thing with passion. Hard work is a bad thing when you don't connect with it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
a lot of times, you can be in a situation where you're doing the things, you're putting your all into something. Both of us have had jobs where we're putting our all into it,
Yeah.
but we're not connected with it.
Mm-mm.
Because there's something, and of course what was missing was the future of what we needed to do.
Yeah.
But we weren't connected with the passion wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
And so yes, you're right, we work so much more. We work nights and weekends, we work constant, but not in a way that seems as invasive.
Right. True.
Because it's such a passion for what we're doing, and I love that.
I think, getting back to your conversation, that is the humanness.
Mm-hmm.
We have passion.
Thank you for rounding that back up.
Hey, look, and that's what we do. So the humanness has passion. Passion is an abstract variable that can be tapped in through the spirit. Now, it's never predictable. It can be something that leads you into answering a question and making a decision right there. The whole raising your hand and saying, okay, I will.
Oh, that's to you, John.
Yeah, that's you, John. So a machine will never do that. That is where the spirit and the heart speak.
That's where the human is.
Humans are notoriously adaptable. Yes. We talk about the endangered species. We're only endangered if we do not promote ourselves and we don't love ourselves and
love humanity.
Yeah, and love humanity. We are actually extincting ourselves, whether physically or just,
by trying to pretend we're not.
Right, by trying to pretend we're not. I mean,
we are not an infinite
there are
society.
things worse than death, and that is when you're living a life with no love and no passion. So I guess what I'm getting at is a computer can't pivot using passion. A computer cannot adapt. It is using algorithms, it is using formulas, and it has access to data. So it can very convincingly make it seem like, wow, you just pulled that out of whatever. No, it's able to make really interesting connections. Humans can too. I mean, we all have aha moments that had nothing to do with a computer, where we go, wait, I got it. And that could have been something you've been waiting 10 years to think of, and all of a sudden now I've completely changed my life, formed a new business, and moved on. I've heard those success stories. A computer didn't do that either. We shortchange our abilities, I think, all the time.
Right.
So...
And let's not shortchange ourselves in thinking that we need to match the AI or the computing system.
Right.
That what we're trying to do is have a tool that only is an assistant or a helpful guide,
exactly.
a helpful piece of the puzzle.
Sure.
But we'll never, ever get to the point of matching the human spirit.
Yeah. And I hear all the time, people go, well, I'm computer illiterate, or I don't know. There's intimidation when it comes to technology. And I mean, rightfully so. I understand why. There are people like maybe learned about technology and have PTSD from it because, well, I'm not getting this, or you're not doing this right, and blah, blah, blah. And
don't touch that.
Don't touch that. Exactly. And there are people like, I'm afraid to touch it. I'll break it. And it's like, well, what a wonderful thing. You break it, and if you learn how to fix it with guidance, then now you know something new. And now you can show your friend when they break it. So, I mean, it's really how, we've really learned and shared knowledge from, sticks and rocks. But I guess when it comes down to it, we, with even web design, which is another layer of computing with servers and, design and what have you, so many times we'll have a client come in and we have a meeting, and we like meeting with the people. We had a wonderful one this past week where we help them to understand, well, I'm not sure, whatever. It's like, just spit everything out. When we spit everything out, we draw connections. We have conversation. That's how you kind of build the web, if you will, of the concepts you want to do.
Actually, that's why a lot of people like to come to us, because they're not sure what they want.
Right.
And it's like, throw it all on the table, and then we'll collect the things that are necessary.
Right.
We will put it together.
And help
And they
you
love
have the
that.
conversation. Yeah, it was just like last week or this past week, where he's describing, well, here's why I want to do this. There's this person and such. And I'm like, all right, what would you want to tell them to convince them that you're the right guy for the job?
Right.
He's like, I see what you mean.
So now we need to talk to your audience.
So we're talking now.
Let's make a very
You've identified
specific
your
audience
audience
and then
because
talk to the
that
audience.
is why your website's now powerful.
Exactly.
But I've said, in 17, 18 years, I guess we've been doing this, have found myself saying many times, look, you are the expert in what you do.
Right.
As we talk, I can learn from that. I'm the expert in what I do, but it all involves collaboration. You just can't find a web design tool and just say, okay, I'm going to make my website, and maybe you can, and that's great, but there's so many factors. In the same respect, I can't act like I understand refrigeration. I can't say I understand how to take care of septic, those things, or any of the...
I'm so glad people do.
Yeah. And it's so cool when you have a client and you kind of learn so much about their industry. It's like, I had no
learning
idea.
New industries.
But-
And I love that they trust us because our industry is communications. We want to take exactly what you do,
Right.
put it in this format,
Mhm.
wrap it in a beautiful bow, and,
Right.
and promote you.
With some of the magic you may not
And
know,
throw it
but
out
it's
there.
only magic because you don't understand it. But honestly, what you do, I feel is magic.
Right.
So and that's respect for humanity. And again, that is the humanness. That is the passion. That are all these concepts here. The computer itself is there. Yes, we use technology, but we set them all on the table. It ain't going to do it for us.
No.
And it never will.
Because it'll never have the passion
It won't. And
or intent.
you always still have that input and output. You always still have that dichotomy. You have this human and this human. The computer's in the middle as the tool. And how can we both reach and collaborate with this tool to help us communicate better?
Right.
But we both need to want to in the first place.
I guess before we get to our game, the
Yeah, we're gonna
finishing point
we're
would
gonna need
be,
game time here. No, I'm kidding.
We do have a game.
I know.
The finishing point is it can't be human, so we're not actually afraid of AI. I think we're afraid of what the human will do with AI.
Yeah, I think that's a point too.
And I think we need to sometimes realize that we're actually more afraid of the other human, the
Right.
nefarious human, the human that's going to do something wrong with the AI.
Yes. What is it
We're
possible?
not actually
What-
afraid of the technology. We're afraid of the human behind the curtain.
I think you're right, and that is true. And again, I think in the earlier podcast very recently we made the reference to Terminator and all these other
Right.
glorified things where it was kind of like, oh my gosh, and just yesterday.
Not Terminator, great movie.
Look, y'all, if you never saw it, and I'm not one to always doom scroll and find stuff, but I stumbled upon some funny things in the 2001 Space Odyssey. There is a YouTube segment where they say, what if the HAL 9000 was like Alexa? If you got a minute and 19 seconds, look it up on YouTube, and it is hilarious. The point I want to make with that is the fact that we saw this movie when it came out in 1968 as being one of the first examples of fear with technology, where this robot entity was right, HAL, which is one letter off IBM anyway, was
Don't
like,
worry about it.
all right, you go ahead to bring Sticks up in here, did you?
Sorry.
That's
always.
fine.
Sticks is my love.
So it's threatening his life essentially by not opening the pod bay doors. So, but he's communicating with it, and of course we know the frustration of it is not doing what he wants. But not to ruin anything, have you spoken to Alexa and asked it to do something, and it went way off on a tangent, and it's like, that is not even what I said. So look that up if you want to, as a fun segue into. Well.
Are we going to do our game?
Yes, we're going to do our game.
We've got to do our game.
Now, look, I kind of want to preface this.
Yes, let's explain.
Well, first off, I'll explain the game, but that'll also explain
How do we find the game? Because we're going to put it out there.
Yeah, we're going to put it out there. So
I'm so sorry. I want to get you.
No, you're fine. No, we're good here.
Ahead of you, I guess.
Nope, we're good. So anyway, the game this time is going to be Founders versus Fictionals. And any grammar hammers out there, don't tell me fictionals is not a word. I know fictional is an adjective. Fictionals is a noun. We can create nouns from adjectives. You do it all the time. Something can be sweet, but what do we eat? We eat sweets. So anyway, we just did that. We made up a word. So
did you just make it okay for your English degree?
Yes, I did. I have 2 English degrees. That means I can make up 2 words a day. So I'm only halfway there and living on a prayer. Anyway. Okay, so
not 6.
No, that would be Bon Jovi's too, right? Anyway.
I'm good with that.
So we're gonna play that game, but look, we've had a couple people talk to us about the games. They're like, "Oh, that sounded really fun." So we decided on our website, which is winternetweb.com. Okay, and you look under our podcasts. That's of course where you can listen to. Probably 60% of the people have found our website to listen to our podcasts. Majority of the people are on, either Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whatever.
And thank you so much
beyond
for
that,
listening.
yeah, I know.
All over the country. All
yeah, I
over
mean,
the world.
places. I'm like, so who lives in Connecticut?
Right?
So who lives out? Who lives in Santa Barbara, California? I mean,
Thank you.
Yeah, so we know it's getting out there and it's growing, but it'll grow more as people support it, and I do appreciate people sharing and following. Like if you use Apple Podcasts or something like that, hitting the follow button, and I feel like I'm one of those people on a YouTube video, push it right now and I'll give you 10% off whatever. No, but anyway, it does help the algorithm, and I do appreciate those that have. What we've done on that page is I've created prompts so that for any of the games we've played, I think this one right here will be our 4th one.
5th game.
Our 5th game, I think so, yeah. And it will, you can take the text of that prompt and put it into ChatGPT or put it into whatever AI of your choice, and it should be able to give it the information it needs so that you can play or play along with others. So we'll try to get into that right now. Okay, so for this game, I know we're talking about Founders versus Fictionals. The idea was we want a name given to us, and we need to figure out, is this someone that is a founder within, say, the technology movement historically or up until toward the present?
Which would be a real person.
Right, a real person, right? Or the name of a fictional character in books, and I believe it may even dip into screenplays and all that, possibly, because I don't think I put limitations on that. So and this will be fun for us. Any fictional character. So in other words, is this a real person in technology field, or is this the name of someone else? So
Moriarty to Dr. McDreamy, anybody that is
there
fictional.
We go. That's right. So we're gonna wing it. Let's go. So anyway, all right, AI, let's play Founders versus Fictionals. You ready?
Absolutely, I'm ready. Let's play Founders versus Fictionals. I'll give you a name, and you can guess if they're a real-life tech founder or a fictional character. Let's get started. Here's the first name for you. Elon Tusk. Is that a real tech founder or a fictional character? Let me know your guess.
Why is he really hard when we do practices, and then he gets weird when we are on air?
I know. And Elon Tusk? Was this
probably something that has been created into a fictional?
Is this like a fan fiction thing? There's no way. Why would you try to throw a trick question at us?
I know.
All right, now I'm going to fuss at him. I'm going to go ahead on this. All right, you said Elon Tusk. And first, I think you're unfair to us. You're throwing something weird at us. Look, we're trying to at least seem like we know what the heck we're talking about on our podcast. We know Elon Musk, but Elon Tusk has to be like some type of fan fiction or some extrapolation from the real person.
You got it. Elon Tusk is definitely a fictional name, kind of a playful twist on Elon Musk. So You know that. I promise I'll keep the names a bit more straightforward from here on out. Let me know when you're ready for the next one.
All right, let's go, man.
All right, here we go. The next name is Ada Lovelace. She a real-life tech pioneer or a fictional character?
I recognize it. What do you think, babe?
Well, we mentioned that earlier. Ada Lovelace is
Right.
As far as females in the computing world, that is one of.
Oh, that's right. She was one of the Babbage computing.
Yes, that's a big
one of the
name.
early
That
pioneers.
is one of the main names. So when you think females in early computing,
Yep.
Ada Lovelace is like, so real founder, absolute.
All right. Do you want to respond to her AI or me? All right.
All right. Ada Lovelace is a founder in technology and not a fictional.
Absolutely right. Ada Lovelace is indeed a real historical figure and is often considered the first computer programmer. Nicely done. Let me know if you want to keep going.
All right. I think we'll do about 3 more. So go ahead. Let's go.
Perfect. Let's do it. All right. The next name is Zara Techman. Is that a real tech founder or a fictional character? Let me know your guess.
Zara Techman.
Zora Techman?
This sounds like probably a fictional sci-fi novel.
Yeah.
And this person was
Techman
probably
makes me think that
on their
there's
way to, I don't know, Jupiter somewhere, going traveling through space or something, you know.
some sort of like sci-fi fictional.
Yeah. All right. Might as well. All right. We think that is maybe a sci-fi character name being fictional.
You got it. Zara Techman is indeed a fictional name. Great job in that one. All right. Let's keep the momentum going. Here comes the next name. Grace Hopper. Is she a real tech pioneer or a fictional character?
God, I do recognize the name. Which
Grace what?
Grace Hopper?
Hopper.
That's technology. Gosh.
If you recognize the name, that is probably a
Well, probably, yeah, exactly. I know. That's considering how many. I got 2 degrees in English, but I ain't gonna tell how many books I read.
Well, I thought
In
the
full,
fictionals would be a little more, like maybe.
Yeah, something recognizable.
Well, not necessarily recognizable, but maybe literary.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, and it gets pulling from all sources.
Right.
Jeez, I do. I feel like this is gonna be one of those. I'm like, oh yeah, it's like Eli Whitney. It's like, oh, the cotton gin. Oh, of course,
Everybody should know that. If they don't, then something wrong.
Yeah.
They didn't go to third grade, fourth grade, and fifth grade.
All right, I'm moving. Grace Hopper is a technology pioneer.
Absolutely correct. Grace Hopper was a legendary computer scientist. Nicely done. All right. Just 2 more to go.
Well, hold on. I want to interrupt you. What did Grace Hopper do?
Yeah, thank you.
Grace Hopper was an incredible pioneer in computer science. She was one of the first programmers of the Harvard Mach 1 computer and developed the first compiler for a computer programming language, which made it much easier to not software. She also popularized the term debugging for fixing computer glitches. She was truly a trailblazer.
So of course
Oh,
I
she
knew
would be
the
like
whole
your favorite.
yeah the debugging thing and my time in programming. Yes, of
You
course
should know that.
I should have, and
So you did, but
I'm now officially sad.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Grace Hopper,
Yeah.
for debugging all of us.
All right, go ahead and give us our last one for today. I'm not going to say make it hard. Make it like look through everything in your data brain. Something fun, something worthwhile to go out with a bang on.
I love it. All right, here we go. For the final one, the name is Lara Codsworth. Is that a real tech founder or a fictional character? Let me know what you think.
Oh boy.
Lara
Codsworth.
For some reason, that Codsworth makes me feel fictional.
That I'm with you. Yes. I'm thinking Lara Codsworth is definitely a fictional character.
You got it. Lara Codsworth is indeed a fictional name, so you nailed it on the head. Great job.
Hold
This
on.
was a lot of fun.
Hold
I
on.
hope it added a little extra spark to your
Hold
podcast
on.
prep.
Oh, well, I'm glad. Yes, you were very helpful. I agree. But we need to know where Lara Codsworth was a part of, because we recognize it, but apparently we haven't read it in a minute.
Absolutely. Lara Codsworth is a name that's reminiscent of the Fallout series, particularly from the Fallout 4 game. Codsworth is actually a character in the game.
All right, be sure to go and check our games out that we have on the website, and some extras that we have that are part of each episode on the website as well.
Yeah, we still got the keyboard cat there, and we'll add other items. But
why not?
I know you can't get rid of it. In fact, I thought about having keyboard cat soundtrack before every game we play. I'm still working on that, but we'll see. But look, I think we're there, and look, appreciate everyone taking the time to listen, and for our fans that binge watch and all that, and giving us feedback.
So much. We've had so many people say,
Yeah.
"Hey, I've started listening," and I'm very excited. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun to do. So and it's we're glad that it resonates with people. So I guess we're going to be signing off here on Wired Together, and you can find us on all the different channels: iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever you got. And thanks for helping us out. But I'm plugging for now.
But always stay connected.